happy to announce that version 1.2 of VoIP Detective has been released. VoIP Detective is a leading call reporting and analytics software for users of Cisco Unified Communications Manager. We offer both a free forever version and a pro version with even more features. Release 1.2 fixes a number of outstanding bugs and brings quite a few new features. You can read through the full changelog on VoIPDetective.com. But at this point, I'd like to take a look at some of what I feel are the most important changes. The first change that I'd like to point out may seem rather simple, but it actually makes the life of a manager much easier. If we go to Track Calls, and we're going to look at the team search. From here, we're able to select our manager and a time frame. New in this edition is an easy-to-read list of unanswered calls. These are calls that weren't answered for one reason or other. They may have gone to voicemail, they may have abandoned while ringing, but they weren't answered. By clicking on the magnifying glass, you can drill down on these calls and get more information. The next improvement I'd like to point out is better labeling and understanding of unanswered calls. So let's go to Track Calls, and we'll look at the inbound call report. Enter the extension we're interested in and a time frame. We can see a number of calls in. Now we can see an unanswered call. This call was abandoned, unanswered. This makes it a lot easier to see which calls went to voicemail. One of my favorite improvements on the technical side is the ability for administrators to search specific error codes. So if we go to Track Calls, and let's search for a SIP 503 service and unavailable code over the last 90 days. Here we can see 3 error codes that we searched for. This allows us to investigate problems with SIP trunks, basically any error code that's presented by Call Manager. We can click on the call legs and get more information about this call. Another improvement is the ability to sync display names with multiple Call Manager clusters. Imagine you have one installation of VoIP Detective and 2 Call Manager clusters, one in North America and one in Europe. If you go to Administration Configuration, scroll down to Call Manager Settings, we can enter our first publisher address, and once that's populated, a second cluster Call Manager address will show up. What this will do is this will allow you to pull display names in from multiple Call Manager clusters. If we go to display names, we can see that we have end user names matching up with extensions. This makes reporting much easier, allows us to not just deal in a world of purely numbers, but to put human names to those numbers. The final improvement I'd like to speak of is the ability to install SSL certificates on VoIP Detective. Prior to release 1.2, SSL certificates were limited to self-signed untrusted certs. So you could either use HTTP or HTTPS, however, users would get a warning that the certificate was untrusted. New with this version is the ability to install a purchased SSL certificate. There is a caveat with this, however. Due to changes in the underlying operating system of VoIP Detective, this requires a new virtual machine to be deployed. So you would either need to delete your old VoIP Detective and start over, or migrate your data from the existing VoIP Detective installation into a new version. You can find more information on this process by visiting the changelog. In this virtual machine, I have deployed a new version, and I now see under Administration, SSL Certificates. I have the option of filling out this information, and installing a self-signed certificate, or if I have my own certificate authority, or I would like to purchase a certificate from somewhere like Zero SSL or Komodo, you can fill out this form. From there, you can generate a private key. The private key will be displayed here, and the certificate signing request will be displayed here. You can upload the signed certificate from your authority and the certificate bundle. And finally, you can install the certificate. After installing the certificate, a virtual machine reboot is required. But after that, you should be able to see the green padlock and access VoIP Detective securely. We try to make upgrading VoIP Detective to the latest version as easy as possible. To upgrade VoIP Detective, log in as administrator, go to Update, and click Update VoIP Detective. You can see that we've upgraded. One thing I would like to point out about this particular version, 1.2, there were database changes. So this upgrade could take a long time for large installations. If you've been a customer for some time now, if you have a large database, this could take hours to successfully upgrade. Just click the upgrade button, let it run. There's no need to reboot the server or anything like that. Should you encounter any problems or have any questions, I would encourage you to visit our support portal at support.voipdetective.com. Here we've got a number of administrator guides as well as end user guides that can help you with installing VoIP Detective, managing, maintaining, and help your end users with using it. Thank you for your time.